This is Radiant Voices Media.
Hey there, and welcome to the Transparently Jordan podcast, the podcast for the curious minds, the dreamers, and the high achievers. Here we dive into self-help, wellness, and mindset shifts that help you become your best self. Let's get into it. This episode is brought to you by the Kova House, the running apparel brand built for runners who care about culture, community, and staying true to running. Kova House is more than gear, it's a movement. And we're kicking off our very first community group run on January 7th. If you want to be part of this running crew that values connection, culture, and showing up, RSVP now and join the Kova House community here in Adelaide. Stay true, stay moving with the Kova House. All right, team, quick shout out to today's sponsor because they've genuinely been a game changer for me personally, and that is U-Foods. So here's the thing, no matter what your goals are, fat loss, muscle building, training for something big, or honestly just trying to survive a busy week, U-Foods has meals that actually taste amazing. And I'm not talking about those sad frozen meals that taste like fake ingredients and disappoint you every single time. These meals taste fresh, they taste real, and they don't feel like you're on a meal plan at all. I literally look forward to them. But the real reason that I'm obsessed personally is time. My time is everything, and saving literally 3 to 5 hours a week from grocery shopping, cooking, cleaning the kitchen, that honestly is priceless to me. Those hours go back into my training. They go back into this podcast, into the other podcasts that I produce, and just my sanity as well. So if you've been thinking about giving pre-made meals a go, or you just want to make your life so much easier, use my link in the show notes and you'll get a free box of meals to try out. Seriously, try it. If you're anything like me, you'll wonder why you didn't start sooner. Hey there, and welcome to another episode. I want to thank you for tuning in, for spending your time with me today, whether it be on your way to work, on your way home from work, cleaning your apartment or your home, whatever it is, thank you for taking the time. On today, we are joined by someone who pours a ridiculous amount of energy into building community, creating momentum, and helping people believe in themselves a little bit more. We're joined by Matt McQuade. If you've ever crossed paths with him, you know he's the kind of person who leads from the front but lifts people as he goes. He co-founded the Belief Project, a running community built around connection, challenge, and showing up for yourself. And he also helps lead the Plunge Run Club, which has quickly become a space where people feel welcomed, encouraged, and is growing each week. On top of that, he works full-time, trains consistently, lives what he preaches about well-being, and sometimes even finds himself competing in high rocks, with Melbourne just around the corner. Today, we get into his story, why community matters so much to him, where his drive and leadership came from, and how he stays grounded while juggling so much. We'll talk about building run clubs, creating spaces people actually want to belong to, and of course, all things high rocks, race prep, mistakes people make, and what he is aiming for next weekend. This is a conversation about belief, about discipline, and the power of showing up. And I think you're going to take a lot from it. So let's get into today's episode. That's about it, really. But thanks for coming on the show, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
That's all right. No, it means a lot spending your Sunday afternoon here in the studio. But I want to start by asking you something that I ask everybody in the beginning of the podcast, and that is, if the person listening right now had an autobiography in front of them, and it was the Matt McQuade autobiography, what is some cliff notes on what they would find in that autobiography?
I've always been super active. I've always wanted to be a leader. Not that I've done it so well at some points, but I've always wanted to be active, be a leader, be involved. Like I love team sports more than I ever liked like solo sort of endeavors. And now even when I try to do solo endeavors with run clubs and lifting and all that sort of stuff is like I want to get a group with me because I just love doing it with people and I love seeing other people do it and like challenge themselves and do something they didn't think they could do like an hour ago or a week ago, whatever it was. So yeah, like I love bringing other people up. I like to challenge myself as well. Like I really think that for everyone, like we're so much more capable of what we think. And what else is about me? Shit. Am I allowed to swear?
Yes, you can. Absolutely.
I should have warned you that before we came in. I don't know. I can be a bit fiery as well, which I don't think is my best trait. Like there's been definitely times and I've been like too intense and like it comes and it impacts other people who I'm like working with, who are on my side, who are on my team, and then overall like negatively impacts what we're trying to achieve. And this is both sort of at work or like training and things like that. But I also try to be like very appreciative of people. It's probably something that I'll try to put more time into now and take time to appreciate what we do have rather than think about what we've lost or think about even too far into the future. Like all of that is just completely up to. I think also I try to think now that things are more in my control rather than obviously there's two sort of different ways you can look at this where some people are like, okay, the world just happens and things happen and they might happen to me or they might not happen to me. But the way I like to think of it is like I am in control of my world. So like what I do is directly going to impact sort of like what I get. And I also try to drive that with anyone who's interested in working with me or sort of is in my life. I really like to think that like, yep, you actually have so much control over what is going to happen or what is going to be your outcome. Obviously, there's lots of things we can't control, but I think you let that go.
I think that's so important. Like, I think some people love to play the blame game, right? They love to, and I don't want to, I don't want to single out anybody really listening, but I've been like that. I've been like, oh well, like everything's going against me right now. Like what's going on? Blah blah blah. But like, I think that's so important. What you were mentioning, like you're in control, and it takes time. I think sometimes for some people to get there. For you, have you always had that mindset, or what did it take for you to get to that place?
No, I haven't always had that mindset. I think I used to be really hard on myself. And I think it actually is important that people are like real with themselves and like slightly critical, but not like so hard on yourself that you get down and then, like that's impacting like what's about to happen next. Because you like, the past is gone, let it go. Once you let it go, then you can be better or whatever the thing was that you didn't achieve before, you can go for it. So yeah, I think I like to what you were saying, I totally feel that it is easier to be negative as well. And it's easy to be frustrated. It's easy to whinge. It's easy to say, oh, this person's got it easier than me. Harder than me, whatever. But yeah, sorry. Does that answer?
The mind is like such a powerful thing. And yeah, I think the mind is naturally negative a lot of the times for some people. I've had people on the podcast that, specialize this and have told me firsthand that for whatever reason, we have this negative space all the time. And I think it comes down to like fight or flight a lot of the times, right? Like we are always in that flight and fight state when something happens. And if you haven't done that work to get to the state what you've mentioned that you're in control, then I think it can be difficult for some people. But I guess what I'm interested in is you've mentioned that you always kind of strive for leadership and motivation in that, but what is leadership to you, and when did your, I guess, journey with leadership start basically?
I got to be a little bit careful what I say here and not use any examples of people in my life who are like my bosses at work or something who I'm like, oh, that guy sucked or whatever. But I think like what I think a good leader is like they actually strive to have the people around them succeed, right? Like, so they inevitably also want to be like highly successful at what they do, but you can be that and not be a leader. Like I think a leader is like everyone comes for the ride. Like I want to win and I want everyone in here to win. So that is some people that I've met like professionally, and then also like through the gym I go to, Revel, who I just, you literally see these people and you think, I want to be like that guy. Like that is exactly like personified. I want to be that guy. And they're just human as well. So that's the other thing. Like I don't want to put them on a pedestal and see this guy's perfect.
Yeah.
You chat to them, you get to know them. I literally sit there with them and say, hey, what makes you tick? Like, why do you... So there's this guy at the gym, for example, who in my eyes is a great leader in terms of like he works as hard as anyone else in there. But during the workouts, he's shouting out at someone across the room to encourage them to do their best. And they don't even know his name, probably. Like, but he's just like, I want everyone in here up there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to be like that guy.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think too, like, I think like leadership, why I find this so interesting is because everybody has a different example of what a good leader is, right? And I love your example of, having like everybody around you as well. Because I think too, for me, a leader is somebody that also kind of has the right people in place and trusts those people. For you, because we'll talk about the Belief Project and all of that. So later on, but for you, it looks like you have other people part of your community. So what is the community like for you when it comes to connecting it with leadership? How does that work in?
Yeah, I think community and like your people is everything. Like I wouldn't have achieved any of the things that I've achieved or I'm working towards without those people, and I wouldn't even like try without those people as well. And like you have to be quite deliberate with it as well. I feel like, so there's some people who like, I don't think they're bad people, but I don't put any time into them. And like, if they message me and they want to do something on the weekend, I will probably say no. And it is fine to say no to people.
Yep.
And it's because like, I love to write things down, what I want to achieve, literally in my notes on my phone.
Yeah.
Probably every few weeks or whatever, I'll like write down what I want, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, these things, like I'm serious. Every single thing I write down, I want that. And then who's going to help me get there? Yeah. And it's not just like, I want $1 million. Like, it's like in the Belief Project, for example, is like, I want to take on 5 people and I want 5 people to succeed. And I can't do that by myself. Yeah. So I have brands come on support to literally give people things to train in so they feel great when they train, right? I have friends who are PTs help me to program for these people, like their sessions so that they have good sessions. I got a friend from Plunge Run Club who studied nutrition, and she helps me with the food, suggest to the people. So it's like, it's the whole package, and none of it is actually like me doing it. Yeah. I get these people, and then like, we'll get there. So yeah, it's cool.
And like, I think like, again, what you've mentioned is key, right? Having a good leader, I think, has the right people around them. And I think also what you have kind of alluded to is you have the right people around you, but like, you also trust in their abilities, right? I think a leader, yes, needs to work hard, and yes, they need to lead by example, but a leader doesn't know everything, right? And that's where a good leader brings in, like you were saying, a nutritionist or a personal trainer or whoever it might be, to build up a team basically to work in unison. So I think that's a great example. But, since we've brushed on the topic already, maybe get into the Belief Project, where it all started, what the idea originally behind it was for you guys.
Yeah, I think it's like how far do I want to go back? But like, I think like just like to be raw is like, I want to help people.
Yeah.
Right. And then it was actually last summer break.
Yeah.
So close to a year ago, I was just on YouTube, and there's this guy posted some video, and it's like how to make a fitness challenge and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I reckon I could do that. Okay. I reckon I could make a fitness challenge. But I was like, oh, but so many people just watch this same video. They make the fitness challenge. Someone loses like 3 kilos. They high five them. A few weeks later, they gain 3 kilos again, and nothing's been achieved. Yeah. Their life is not like, it's the same. Their life's the same. I'm like, okay, I want to actually, not to be dramatic, but I was like, I want to change people's lives. So yeah, I had that little idea. And then I chatted to some people who are close to me about like potentially different pathways. One of them was actually Steve, who you had on this podcast. He's a great guy. And he sort of like instilled in me that's like, if you just do this and like have one person who has a great outcome, that's incredible because that is one person's life. So that inspired me as well, because then I was like, oh, well, I could do 5 people, right? So yeah, I started talking to some people. That guy from the gym who I mentioned earlier, I got a ice long black with him and chatted through it. And he's the kind of guy who he doesn't even drink coffee, but he went with me to get the coffee because he wants to hear about the idea. He wants to contribute. He's talking to me like we're spitballing ideas. He's like, where do you want to take this? How big?
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff. I talked to a guy, Riley Glynn, about it, who was at Lululemon. And then he said, we're going to fit out everyone who's in it. So I said, awesome. I think originally they wanted to give like the winner an outfit. I was like, oh, there isn't winners. I want like everyone to win every single week. Because like the way it was structured, like the first time around I did it, is for the 8 weeks, like every week you have your 7 days broken down into things that you said you wanted to show up for. And either it's as simple as this, you get like your box is white if you didn't show up for that thing. It's like a pale green if you showed up, but not to the extent that you fully wanted. Or it's a dark green if you like did that thing, right? So then you get 7 days of whatever color in terms of how green or not green. And then you see at the end there, okay, I've won this week for myself. If you say I want 4 dark green boxes, I won this week. There was actually like a monetary part involved as well. So the people will put money into a pool, and then each week if they showed up more than they didn't, they had the opportunity to get that money back. So because I looked into the psychology a little bit, and I was like, oh, how do I get these people actually like every week to be like, I have to get this thing? And there was some study where people it was actually to do with people who had like drug problems, but basically they stuck to like their desired behaviors if there was just a tiny monetary involvement. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do that. Just give them a little bit of money to do like the thing they said they wanted to do, and it's their own money anyway. And yeah, so that was sort of the start of that side of it. I don't even know where I was at with the story.
No,
but
that's fine. I love it.
Yeah, like there was, I guess, I had to decide as well sort of like how much I wanted to put in terms of like, we just decided it was going to be like 3 sort of pillars that would make it up. And it's sort of like, rather than say like training, it was like movement.
Right.
And rather than saying like food or like diet, it's like consumption.
Right.
So a lot more than just like what I'm putting in my mouth, but like everything I'm consuming. Because I think some people actually were a bit like, oh shit, I don't want to do this anymore. When I said your consumption isn't like calories, it's also like, this is a problem for me as well. I put my hand up and said, this is a problem for me. My phone, like I consume that shit, like, and it is bad for you. You can make a lot of great things with technology. We're doing something right now with technology that's sick, but also like this morning I was scrolling Instagram for like 30 minutes. That's wasted time. That is trash. So I talk about that sort of stuff. And it's also like, I just want to open that consumption to people to be like, how much do you want to explore it? And how much do you want to just back off? So like, if you want it to be just your food, that's great, because that's still an improvement. But if you want to do your food and your phone use, and then your phone use around like your sleep hygiene, and then all these sort of things, we can go into that as well. So,
all right, I want to talk to you about sunglasses made for runners by runners. That's why I wear Your Run sunglasses. Lightweight, zero bounce, and they stay locked in even when you are sweating through speed sessions, long runs, out in the sun, whatever it might be. They are stylish enough for daily wear, durable enough for race day, and just the perfect combo. Honestly, I love brands that get the sport, get the grind, and support the running community, not just the podium finishers. If you're serious about your run gear and want shades that perform as hard as you, go check out Your Run. Use my code Jordan10 to save some money and get yourself some stylish sunnies that actually perform and look good. Run smart, stay protected, look good doing it with Your Run sunnies. It's so important because like too, I've been recently on this whole path of like sleep quality and nighttime routines and everything, even like late in the evening. Like,
Mm,
I'm
mm.
as anal right now as like my fan, it's starting to go on because it's getting warmer, and like they have the little LED like on lights, and I'm like, oh, God damn it, how do I like cover that up and blah blah blah. But like it's so important.
Mm.
Like I think that's such a cool thing, is like consumption and using different words really to reshape exactly
Mm.
what you're wanting. And I think you mentioned an interesting thing near the beginning there. You're like, not to be dramatic, you wanted to change people's lives, but it is dramatic,
Mm.
like I think like that's such a cool thing. And what Steve mentioned, even I think he mentioned it during his podcast maybe as well. I don't know, but like
Oh,
even if you helped one person, I think like that is such an amazing feeling sometimes as well. Like I think back to this podcast when I started 5 years ago, like, seeing two listeners for like months, you know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, should I keep on going? Blah, blah, blah. But like being in that mindset, well, no, like clearly those two listeners are coming back again and again. And, now thank you for listening right now. But like, the hundreds of thousands of people that are tuning in each episode, like it's so good, like to actually be helping, who you intended to help really. So like I think like, yeah, you mentioned not to be dramatic, but it is dramatic. I think like it's such a cool thing really. Um, why do you think people resonate with the Belief Project so much? So, I've been to my first Belief Project run, when was it, last week? And
yeah.
like people were chatting. It was a good community there. And I think like what I've had multiple episodes about this. Like I don't like run clubs in the sense like I find there's run clubs where they're communities, and then there's run clubs because running is trendy. Being and I have a bunch of projects in the works, so I've been to like maybe in the last month 7 or 8 different run clubs around Adelaide, and I can definitely tell the different vibes out there. But like when I was out at your guys' training session, it was nice being greeted by everybody. It was nice not feeling cliquey, and that's what I don't like about the whole run club thing, is I think you get into there, and whether it's consciously or subconsciously, I think it can be quite daunting for a new person to attend, something. I've been running since I was a kid, so I wasn't really stressed attending like that. But, if I was super stressed and I got to a run club and, you have pockets of different people, I think a lot of people might just be like, oh, cool, maybe this isn't for me. You know what I mean? Or sitting out of the car and looking in. And I've heard stories, people have told me of them saying that, like, Jordan, I've actually just gone home because, like, I felt so intimidated going to something. So, why do you think people resonate with the groups that you are in?
I think the actual groups themselves, like we have great people out there, like really good people. And like as you were saying, like I do try to encourage like a culture of you just at least like say hello to everyone. And like I'll try every week and it might actually just be, hey man, how's it going?
Yeah.
And that might be the only words I say to you the whole session. Maybe like you drop me like you did on one of the reps, and as you're going past me, I say, good job, dude.
Yeah.
And we might see those two things only, right? But it's some sort of touch point. Especially like maybe people who are newer to like something, is like as you're saying, like the first barrier is, are they even going to rock up? And if they do, that's awesome. And then like as soon as I see them walking towards us, and I just want to say hello, yeah, I think with the Belief Project sessions, I try to make those a bit challenging as well. So maybe that is what draws some people. Like I do think it's like a human need for us to strive and challenge ourselves and be better. Like you're obviously not going to physically always improve like through the roof. There's going to be points when you can't, or when you get older and your body literally can't do it, but you need to challenge yourself in some way. So rather than just sort of go out and I don't know, go for a walk or just jog and whatever. It's like, all right, guys, the session this week, like we're doing 3 minutes at threshold. 30 seconds float, even though I wrote it wrong on the Instagram story, but that was what it was supposed to be. And then we're going to do 8 reps. And you should be cooking pretty hard by the 7th or 8th rep. And if you're not, run the floats. Like, let's make it hard here. Let's challenge yourself. So when you're at the end, you're really quite proud. And then you want to show up next week as well. Because you show up for yourself, you show up for everyone. Yeah, just try to create a good culture, I think. Really welcoming. I'm fortunate enough that like I'd want to offer these sort of things for free as well. Like, so like if that's a barrier for people, I don't want that to be something. So you rock up. It's a great session for me as well. Like, I literally love it. Like, I'm not dragging my feet to get there. I love it. I love seeing people move. I love running. I want to do that exact session. So I just say, why don't people do this session with me? You know?
Yeah.
And it's good fun.
Yeah.
So,
I think culture is the key there, right? Like, I've had this discussion with recently, really, and listening to the Josh Lynett project, he's had this discussion as well about running crews versus running clubs. I think there's the difference there. Like, you know, when I was at your session, I think you hit a key thing. I decided to come out to that session versus the plunge club, run club, because of the challenge. I think that was like a cool different thing, really, for a group, but also like the difference between a club and a crew. Like, club is often based by location. It is based by maybe there's a brand that they're promoting or something like that. But then a crew is about the community and it's about the culture. So I really agree with what you said there. Like, building a good community and building a good culture is important in making things not only inclusive, but like also enticing for people to come, like having a bit of a challenge is cool. But having a good culture, I think, is key, really, because you can have like, a run club, which I think is for anybody and everybody. But if you have a good community or, a run crew, I think it is for anybody, but it's not for everybody, because sometimes everybody is looking for something a bit different. And that's what a run club can give you, really. What do you think is essentially the goal for the Belief Project, let's say a year from now? I know you were saying at the beginning, you don't really look that too far in advance, but do you have an idea? Or I guess how I can reshape that is, what does success look like for you and for the Belief Project?
Yeah, I've really been thinking on this a lot lately, because as I was saying earlier as well, is like, I do like to sort of know what the goal is and not just sort of be like, all right, well, whatever happens here is going to happen. It's like, I want to be like, okay, I want this in 12 months. And to get that in 12 months, I need this in 6 months, this in 3 months, this next week, whatever. It does take like different avenues. Like, one thing that was cool that happened with the Believe Project was people were like, oh, we want some merch. And I was like, oh, that's sick. We can do some merch. And then I was like, well, I want this merch to also contribute in some way. So like, we made caps just because they're so easy for anyone to wear, one size fits all. So we made 20 caps, $40 each, and then $40 from each of those sales went to the Hutt Street Centre. So that was sick. Like, that was like a cool little thing that just happened along the way. So there's some of those things bubbling away. And like, even with the run every sort of alternating Tuesday and Thursday, the session that you came along to, that just sort of blossomed out of me wanting to do a session with people, because I don't like slogging it solo. I don't know how people do that. Like, I definitely want someone next to me, or even slightly in front of me, just dragging me through, someone chasing me so I can keep them off my tail, whatever. I do want to develop the Belief Project into just helping more people, but I also don't want to like lose like sight of like every single individual like matters a lot to me. Because I was talking to actually another guy at the gym about this, who's very business minded and is very successful, and he's like, okay, how are you going to scale it? Can you make what you do accessible to someone else, and they can just be a trainer, and then you just give it to them, they do a group of 8 people, they help. And I'm like, okay, like, maybe, like, I'm not against that, because if they can do that really well, I do want all those 8 people to have access, but I don't just want to like dilute it and be like, okay, some of you might succeed, some of you might fail, but at least like, I'm growing, like, I want to have like everyone that comes in, I want to honestly say I did my absolute best for that person, or absolutely like lit the way for them as best I could, to get them towards whatever they said they wanted to achieve at the start of the 8 weeks, right? One area that's developed out of it just naturally is some people are like, oh, well, I want you to train me. So there's a guy I trained this morning at home in my home gym. It's just weight training because he wants someone basically to tell him what to do, show him how to do it properly, because I think there's a lot of like technical things with lifting maybe that people don't think about, or they don't know like how to structure their programming and things like that. So I love doing that as well. Obviously I love plans and structures and everything. But yeah, so like I like that one-on-one side of it. I like the group side of it. I haven't exactly decided what I want to do next, but I want to keep it rolling.
Yeah.
And I want to keep helping people is probably the main drive. So wherever that takes me in 12 months.
All right, let's talk about supplements that actually earn a spot in my routine. Not hype, just results. I love the Tropica matcha because I love clean energy without the crash. But also I like how this matcha is smooth, it's not bitter, and I genuinely look forward to having it every day. There's also the pineapple creatine. Creatine isn't just for muscle performance, you guys. There is more research coming out about how it supports mental clarity, mood, etc., etc. If you train, think, move, breathe, you should be taking creatine, in my opinion. At nighttime, I also love their beauty custard. It legit tastes like dessert and supports recovery while I sleep. It is collagen, so it's great for the skin, the hair, joints, longevity. Both men and women, everybody should be taking collagen. You guys can use my code JORDSDAY10 at checkout to save yourself some money. That's JORDZDAY10 at checkout. JORDSDAY10. Thank you, everybody. That's such a hard, like you've touched on an interesting thing, like the whole business side of things. I always find that quite interesting as well. Because with something like this where you have that community, that culture, and you don't want to lose that, it's, you have business on one side, but then you have the other side of things on the other side, and it's very hard to bring them together and for them to, get to where sometimes you envision. Of course, you want, the group to grow and everything, but that makes total sense. How do you keep, another group of 8 or whatever along the same culture, community as what you've built with, what you've built so far? I don't have the answer. I just find that such an interesting concept, really, because it's not something that gets talked about very often. A lot of people that start. And I think that's where, like, going back to the run clubs, for example, running is very trendy these days. Like, a run club might start, and by the first month, it has, 100 plus people out there. But I think, too, why a lot of, like, I've talked to a bunch of founders, maybe, of run clubs. That's maybe a word for it. And, there's a bunch of prominent run clubs that have stopped over the years. And I think that was a key thing that, talking to the founders have mentioned is it's grown exponentially. Running has gotten so trendy, and we just lost sight of that community or, that goal, really. And I think keeping that and keeping that purpose out at the forefront can be hard when things grow super quickly. I guess what has this experience so far with the Belief Project taught you about leadership?
It's been good for me in a way, in terms of just like keeping me accountable. Like, it's taught me. Well, actually, one thing that I've found quite it was very emotional at the time to deal with was I've changed the way I had to think about my goal for each person, because when I first started, like, say you join and you say, hey, Matt, my goal is like bench 80 kilos. And like, I'm like, okay, fine, like whatever, because that's not like really your goal. Like, you want to be fitter, like you want to change something about your identity to be a fit person. Like, you want to be is what I'm trying to hopefully like you act, because benching 80 doesn't matter. Who fucking cares? Like it's not really a thing. Anyway, but something I had to learn with myself was like, okay, I can only like light the way for this person. Each week I give them the call, meet up with them, whatever it is, the touch point, meet them where they are, like mentally with everything, and then try to just like challenge them or push them or like encourage them along a little bit further. And if next week, like we catch up and I see you and objectively you're in the exact same spot as a week ago, I can't take that on like too hard, because that was something I really struggled with. I was like, oh my God, like I'm trying so hard here. And I feel like in this last week, like there's been no progress. And also have to be real with myself is that's partly like because I haven't delivered to this person what they need to succeed. Like it isn't just this guy isn't training. It's like, no, he's trusting me to help him to reach whatever his goal is. So like I've got to change something here. I can't just say the same thing as a week ago. I can't just plan his week the same. I can't just do this. It's got to change. So obviously I want you to get to that end point, but my goal has to be just light the way for you. Not like if you get there, I succeed. It's like, have I done what I think I can do to help get you there? Yes. Okay, good. And if you do, that's incredible. If you don't, that fucking sucks, because I want every single person to get what they want, but like I can't control that. Yeah. So I had to release that. That was like something I learned, like, and took it pretty hard, like the first few times. Yeah. For the person, but also for me, like, you know, because I'm thinking, oh, this person, we're not gelling well, or whatever the reason is. Yeah, so that was something I learned.
It's such a hard gig, isn't it? Because like it's so much more than just telling somebody to bench 8 reps or, you know, like I used to be a PT a long time ago, but even now, or back when I was like a physio, working like clinically, it's so much more than giving people your banded pull aparts or whatever, right? It's yeah, you are needing to not necessarily be a psychologist, but like, you know, delve a little bit deeper into somebody's story, into somebody's journey. And I think that's where things get mixed up, but where things can get quite frustrating, because as somebody who wants to help somebody and, you know, like you were saying, you know, maybe they don't hit that goal or whatever, it sucks. But, you know, I think too, we're all like, we're all going through the journey as one, you know, like you're going through a journey helping somebody, they're going through a journey trying to be better. And I think like being understanding of each other's journey, I think is where people often are mistaken and where things go wrong. I think like, you know, if I signed up with a PT, I'd expect them to know everything. But at the same time, I'd also expect that they're human and, you know, maybe my story and what I'm dealing with is nothing that they've ever dealt with before. You know, it's a very tricky thing, really, I think. What has the Belief Project, I guess, taught you or shaped you personally?
It's I think the name itself like is like I didn't want it to sound corny or like lame, and I'm sure some people have seen it and be like, oh, the Belief Project, like if you believe you can do anything. But like I also do think that like you do have to believe in yourself and like other people believe in you. So it's taught me a lot around that. And like, for example, there was one guy, actually, this is like a really great story, where he came out to a track session that our gym put on, and he did his 5K time trial, but he like barely got through the 5K. Like, and he'll agree with me saying this. He was slogging it around that track. He ran it at 5:30 pace, which is solid. Like he used to be, I think, quite a good like rugby player and reasonably fit in that area, but he'd never delved into running and never devoted himself to running. And then after that track session, I actually said to him, dude, I reckon you could take this to like huge levels if you commit to it. And he said, oh yeah, I've always wanted to do a marathon. And then just by chance, he actually put his hand up and applied for the first round of the Believe Project, which was starting. And I said, yeah, absolutely, let's do it. He was super committed. He built himself up to doing a half marathon within the 8 weeks. And then a few months later, he got to his marathon, which I was like fortunate enough to run the last bit with him, which was awesome. And that was just one of those stories, like for me, where it's just like, if you commit for him, that was 8 months, which is a long time. Like that's a serious commitment. Yeah. You can do like really great things over just more. If you give it enough time, you can really achieve incredible things. And also, I think something I learned from him that I loved was he's a dad as well. So he's got 2 kids. He's got his wife. He's got his full-time job. He's got all these pressures. He's on the other side of 40. All these things that other people, back with what we were saying before, other people might say, I can't do it because of this. I can't do it because of that. Or I'm tired. Kids had a bad night, blah, 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 whatever it is. He said, no, stuff that. I'm committing for 8 months, and he's run a full marathon. He just did actually Victor Harbour half marathon today. And it's just incredible. So that's something that I've learned from him in particular. Just you can do it. Like, and if someone else has done it, why can't you do it?
Yeah. And why? Like, who cares if it sounds corny? You know, like, I think it's an amazing thing and quite an interesting project, really. Because it's also, there's not a whole lot of things like it, I think, going on right now, which I find, I don't know if sad's the word, but like, it's a cool concept. And I think, like, why not? You know what I mean? Like, I think, like you were saying, like, anybody can do everything. I think what really makes me sad sometimes hearing is people telling me that they can't do something because they're too old, because, you know, time has passed, because, you know, maybe they have an injury, or, you know, for whatever reason they can't do something. I think, like, why not, really? Like, I think there's a way around an injury. There's a way around, you know, your age. There's a way around anything, really. And from just sounding like what it sounds like the Belief Project is, I think, you know, it's why not, really? Like, why can't you do whatever it is that you've set out to do? Mm-hmm. Let's maybe get into the Plunge Run Club and where that story started. And is it different? Is it the same? What is that like when it comes to that community, that group, and the idea of that?
Yeah. This is another one where I don't know how far back to go with it. But in 2020, just leading into sort of like COVID and everything like that, there was a guy who I didn't even know, but he used Instagram to launch a run club that was 21 Run Club. He was going to do 21 half marathon distances, which is 21 kilometers, obviously. And then he wanted to raise 21 grand as well for mental health charity. And at the time, like in Adelaide, like that sort of stuff wasn't happening, right?
They were one of the original run clubs, 21,
Yeah. So I just went out there with a mate one time, and I was just like, this is sick. It was free, and it was like movement and connection. And obviously his end goal was 21 grand for a charity for mental health. And this guy, Jack, it was his way also, like, of his own mental health struggles that he was having. This helped him as well. So it was just like winning for everyone. So I thought that was incredible, right? That was a few years ago. And Plunge started 2 years ago, pretty much because I was jogging with a couple of friends on Wednesdays down at the beach, and we just said, this is incredible. Like, back when you could swim in the water, when there was no algae bloom down there, we would just like run at sunrise, swim in the water, go get a coffee. Like, the world, this is incredible. Like, life rocks.
Yeah.
Why don't we get people to come here? Why is there no one here?
Yeah.
So we just asked our friends to come along. They started coming along. During the peak of summer, like the numbers are through the roof. We were worried whether we're going to have some like council coming and saying you got to get some permit or something. But yeah, it was cool. And like, it was just around the same sort of thing where we want to encourage like movement and connection and like healthy social circles and healthy activities. It's not a slog. Like it's very different to the Belief Project sessions where I want to get you out there and you want to work hard, right? With a plunge, it's like you come along, you can run, people walk, people take their dogs, people run, walk, you just chat. No one goes and flies off at some crazy pace. Like, and the whole thing is just like you connecting with people, and you still get all those feel good endorphins and you get your caffeine. It makes you feel great. The local coffee shop we go to are good to us as well. They give us discounted coffees. They let us have events out the back. We got to a point now where everyone's so close that we do things outside Run Club. It's, one of the girls, it was her birthday on the week before. So we brought along like cupcakes and things to celebrate that. It's really special. It's just grown. And it's just, the people there just make it so special. I love that.
Yeah. What do you think is the differing factor from somebody showing up to the Plunge Run Club versus one maybe a couple kilometers down the road, for example?
I think they're like all really good spaces, genuinely. All the run clubs I've tried, it like maybe like because moving makes you feel so good, everyone is so nice to each other.
Yeah.
So I couldn't trash any of them, to be honest. Like all the ones I've been to have been great, and I think people should go to whatever's most accessible for them, and whatever's most suitable for them. I also don't think that run clubs in Adelaide should be competitive. Like, I don't like this sort of thing that people might be like, oh, I go to this one, I go to this one. Okay, cool. Like it's not like competitive like business. Like it's everyone can go and have a great time and all come along.
Yeah.
And you can go here, and if you go to someone else's run club next Wednesday, I don't care. I hope you had a good time. That's sick. Please come back next week.
Yeah.
But like
that's why I think it's important again to build that culture and that community, because it needs to be convenient for people. Like, if the Saturday morning, I would probably, lean more towards going to one closer to me, for example, but what's stopping somebody from driving 20 minutes to a different one, because because of that group or whatever, right? So I think that's important too, is like it's great that there are so many around Adelaide that are good groups, because I think people are okay then with going and visiting. Like I was saying, I've been to probably 10 or maybe like 7 or 8 in the last month, really. And I think like there are a handful of those that I would be totally okay with going to, out of my way every morning to run with a group of people. When people, I guess, are going out and joining a group, run group, or maybe even going to a gym, anxiety is such a big thing, really. What is, for the person listening right now, what is something that you would tell that person who might be that person who is sitting outside in their car, should I go into that gym? Shouldn't I? Should I go join the group? Shouldn't I? Because it's a very real thing, gym anxiety is a real thing. Joining a group is a real thing. And I'm all for getting people out there and, moving, basically. I think community is key. But I can totally understand it can be quite daunting going by yourself. What is something that you would tell that person?
Yeah, no, I totally hear that. Like I have had that anxiety as well. Like just for example, like there's a class that our gym does on Friday afternoons that is notoriously hard, and more challenge puts you in a better spot in future because you pushed yourself and you're going to develop in better, right? And that cycle, that flow is there. But like there would be times and I'd be like, I don't want to go. I don't want to walk in the door, and you're overthinking it so much, and then you just end up freezing and you do nothing. And like to a further extent, like there was times when I wasn't like going so well, when like if I had like a big weekend or something, I would like on Monday, any plan that I had for movement was gone. Like it wasn't happening. I would lie in bed. I would work from home. So it's the easiest option. Like whatever's just like the least anxiety inducing option, I would just choose that. And then I wouldn't train that night, and I might get up the next morning and go for a walk, and that would get me back moving. And then I might go for a jog the next day, and that's Wednesday, and it's this cycle, right? So I get that feeling. I think one thing actually that my partner Sarah has come across recently that she really liked is she's literally just count down like 3, 2, 1, go. And does a thing which like I don't want to say to people just count down and go, and then you can just do whatever you want. Like I understand there's so much more going on, but like if you just try to maybe focus on like just like counting down, and then when I get to go, I'm just gonna get out of my car, and then like once you open the door of your car and you put your first step on the road towards your gym, you're going to keep the next step becomes easier, and then you're walking, and then you're at the door. And then what's really great about a gym like Revel is like once you are through those sliding doors, the coach says hello to you. There's probably someone there, they're going to say hello, how you going? Before you know it, you're walking in, the warm-up's starting, we're warming up, and things just flow, and then you're rolling, and then you started, and you're training, and you're there. But I totally get it. It's really hard for people who have that struggle to get moving. I guess, yeah. So, I really, really feel for them, and I've been there. So I don't want to say it's as easy either as just saying, just do it. Just do it. It's like, well, okay, if people could just do anything, we'd all be like incredible. And any goal that you set, be like, all right, I'll just do that goal. That's all right. I'll just done it. That's all right. Next. Like, it's not that simple. I
think if you've taken the time to at least drive somewhere, that's the first step, right? Leaving your home is the first step. And I love that. Like, I hate it when people say, oh, well, you just got to do it. Like when you scroll through reels or whatever, I always roll my eyes and I'm like, well, it's easier said than done for a lot of people, really. But I think too, like, one thing that I always try to think about or tell people is if you're going to a space where, movement is being, is happening, basically, everybody is there to better themselves. Everybody's there for a goal. And very rarely is somebody going to be judging another person on, what they're working towards or for being there or whatever. So, and I think and again, I don't want to be putting ideas in people's heads or speaking on behalf of other people. But for me, I think if I am anxious going into a space, it's probably because I'm worried that somebody's going to be, oh, why is he here? Making fun of you or doesn't belong or whatever, really, right? But I think if you enter a gym, nobody's going to be thinking that because everybody is A, busy working on themselves, B, whatever time you go, if it's 6 a.m., they're probably too tired to be thinking about that. If it's after work, they're probably too tired to be thinking about that after dealing with people all day. So again, I know it's easier said than done, but I think when you're going to a running group or if you're going to a gym, anything movement based, again, people are there to better themselves, and you're not bettering yourself by making fun of other people. So I don't think people in that space would do that, really. So if you've taken the first step and you've driven somewhere, maybe count down to 3 or whatever that next step to get you in there. But you've done the hard part. You've driven there. You've left your house. Hopefully, you can find that courage to get in. What motivates you in this chapter of your life? If we go back to that autobiography and, we scroll through almost 2026 now, what motivates you in this chapter of your life?
I still want to strive and be better at everything I'm doing. I had someone ask me, actually, he's from another gym, but he's asked me just in the sauna the other day, he said, what do you want to do with your lifting? What do you want to do with your running? All those sort of things for next year. And this is my goal in that area. I've already decided. I said to him, I'm going to PB every single thing. Everything from a 5K up to a 42.2, I'm going to PB it. And in the gym, bench, dead, squat, I'm going to PB them. And it's going to be very structured, 12 months is a very long time, like we talked about before. So I'm going to have the first half of the year is towards that running focus. And then the second half of the year is towards that lifting focus. But the motivation there isn't like, oh, can I lift 2.5 more kilos? Is like, I want to be better. Like, I want to also set an example for other people that you can always like be better. And that is like becoming more and more my main motivator now. Particularly, this was one that was actually hit quite hard recently, is the second round of the Believe Project I did. My brother applied. And at first I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this one. And I actually had to have a chat with him, like quite candidly. And I was like, dude, we've got a relationship as brother to brother. We've got a very good relationship. The way I operate in this Belief Project is like as a different sort of person. If you sign up, like, I'm not going to have a chat as your brother. Like, I'm now, like, I don't know the right language to use here. Yeah. But like in like a mentor or like a coach or like whatever people want to see me as, it's fine. They can see me as that. But like, that's going to be separate to our relationship as coach or whatever, and your brother. And like, we're going to have to sometimes say like, hey, this conversation, this is Belief Project only. And now I don't want to hear about that. I'm your brother, right? So other people like are a big motivator for me now, like to like have them share with me what they want and what they want to achieve, and then like have some sort of impact on driving them there. Because I think also like people know what they need to do is what I've like think as well. As like, I also think things aren't that complicated sometimes, and like it is that simple sometimes. So like I just want to help them get there. And my motivation is to see other people succeed and like see how someone be vulnerable and share what they want, and then to help get them there. And then see like how they feel when they've hit it. Like a very obvious one is like when you go to a running race, someone's been training for 6 months to run a 10K in whatever time it is. Doesn't matter if they're trying to run it in 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, 60 minutes, 70 minutes, 80 minutes, 90 minutes, whatever it is. Those people are just slogging it to get to the line, and they cross the line and they see their finish time. I've done it. I've fucking done it. And like that feeling is like awesome. And so to share that with someone else, that's like a big motivator for me now.
What keeps you motivated with all of this, with your fitness goals, with your, lifestyle goals? This is a question that I love to ask people because it's something that I get asked all the time. What keeps you motivated?
I like literally love it. Absolutely love it. So there is, for example, like with work, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Obviously, anyone who's honest is like, there are times during that 8 hours where you've got to think about like something that's going to keep you motivated. Like, okay, I've got to get through this to finish this project to deliver to the client, because I love delivering good outcomes to clients. And then, that gets you. But in terms of like everything to do with Plunge Run Club and like Believe Project and working with people, like I literally love it. Like it's not like I don't struggle for motivation. Like it gets me going to do it. Like it's the guy I'm coaching this morning at my home gym, like doing the coaching is motivating, and I want to do more of it. And like I see Sarah, my partner, afterwards, and I look like a different person. Like I'm happy. I've just loved this experience. So it's like self-fueling, and I want to do it more. Yeah. So yeah, does that answer?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. When it comes to like what's next, what is next when it comes to, you have that list of your goals. What's coming up for you?
So something that I have learnt from that guy, Nam from the gym, who I was speaking about earlier, who was the guy in the gym who I literally saw him, I think, I want to be like that guy. He spoke to me when I was developing all these other goals. He said, make sure you keep your priorities, like the people that you love, top. So like for me, and I've got it in my phone as well to remind me, is like, for me is like Sarah, my family, and then all these things, so that's sort of what I've got to keep as my frame always, and my priorities. And then as long as I'm putting time and quality time and effort into those things that are important to me at the very top, like with Sarah and my family. Then I think about what's next for me with these cool little projects, and I sort of think about it like a game as well. You know, like you don't want to take it too seriously. Like I love doing it all. Like it's good fun, and it's like almost like a little problem. Like on a bit of a tangent here, but to what we were talking about a bit earlier as well is like I think some people I've got to try to figure out how to crack them open a bit, and they can share what's actually going on there. Because like these people have had this same goal for 2 years that they know they can achieve, and they're coming to me, I want to really do this thing. Yeah. And I say, what's really going on under there? Like what? Share with me. Like how do I get this person to open up, or what's happening? And I've got no idea what it is. So yeah, maybe I want to figure out next sort of how to figure out how to communicate better, like more effectively, like with people, to allow them to feel like they can share what's going on underneath, which might be stopping them from achieving these things that are like just outside their grasp from another outside perspective. So maybe that's something I got to be better at, work on next.
That's so interesting because yeah, everybody has a reason for something. If somebody comes to you and they want to lose 10 pounds or they want to gain 10 pounds of muscle, or, you know, there is a reason behind that, really. And that's such an interesting concept because unless you really, I'm a big believer at least, unless you really can understand that reason behind, you know, a person's goal, if people achieve that goal, well, then what's next for them? You know, it's very hard for somebody to then maintain or to find purpose after, really. Even like I think to the recent 70, like in Melbourne, the half Ironman, like I think I worked so hard for that for so many months. When it was done, I was like, oh, wow, what now? Right. And I think it's because that purpose wasn't there and that why exactly after the fact wasn't there. Like I didn't have a why after. And that's something that I sat down and I chatted with my coach about is, oh, I think like I need to really think about the next event differently because I've run over 12 marathons and I've never experienced that before. Was sitting down after the event, driving home from Adelaide, sitting on my couch and just like depression hitting. And again, like it's a hard thing, like from your point of view as a mentor, coach, whatever you want to call it, because it's hard to get that out of somebody. I think some people have walls up. Some people might not have walls up, but they might not truly understand their own reasoning behind something, and that's a hard skill to have and to get as well. So I love that point that you made there. Really, what's your goal for this weekend coming up?
For me, for High Rocks,
yes. You've done a bunch, haven't you?
I've done, so I did doubles last year in Melbourne. Okay. And then I did singles in Perth. Yeah. My goal, I would want to go quicker than my last one. So I think it'll be cool if I can get around 75 minutes. Which I'm very conscious that I've just said that, and it's been recorded. There's some little things that like I want to maybe execute better along the way. So like regardless of the time, like just little things that I want to execute in terms of the movements. Like with the wall balls at the end, I want to structure that in a more efficient way than last time. Yeah, so I want to see Sarah do really well. Like I've got a lot of friends going over as well who are doing singles and doubles, and I'd love to see them go well. So yeah, that's like important for me. And yeah, like I want to have fun as well. That's the other thing. Like I don't want to go to Melbourne, you know, pay for a flight, pay for accommodation, slog it for whatever amount of time, and then miss it by 30 seconds and think, oh, this sucks. It's like, nah, dude, your life rocks. Like your life is so good that you could just fly to Melbourne for 4 days, stay in a hotel, run around in circles, cheer some people on, go out for nice food. Like, yeah, your life's pretty good, dude. So I want to be happy for as much as possible. I want to give it my all, but be happy as well. So yeah.
What's your why with High Rocks? Why do you choose High Rocks over going and doing something else?
I think it's just it's the flavor at the moment.
Okay.
The High Rocks.
Yep.
Yeah. Like I like how it's different physical disciplines. And I've found myself more and more drawn to like hard work, which is a weird one because when I was a kid, I was like, I just want to play games. And any sport that was like hard work, I wasn't interested in, but I loved games and I loved winning.
Right.
But yeah, like I guess now I just love slogging it and I love the feeling when you get like redlining it and how long can I hold it in that red line?
Yeah.
And just like afterwards be like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a big one with High Rocks because there's a lot of that. Like it's so different to running where like obviously with running, if you run really well, you know what pace you want to go the whole way through.
Yeah.
And like you know what you're in for pretty much. Like with High Rocks, it's like, yeah, you run a K and then you do a ski and then you run a K and then you push a sled that's 200 kilos and then you run a K, then you pull a sled. It's like you're all like this the whole time, but you got to try to redline as hard as you can. So I like that as well, the randomness of it.
Yeah. When you are training in the gym, when you are prepping for these events, what's a common mistake you think people go into event with, basically, when it comes to maybe mindset or their attitude or even just preparation? What's a mistake you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think like you just said, like mentally, if you can control your mind, like that is so much more important than people think. Or like maybe we all know it and it's just so hard to actually control your mind. Like when your heart rate goes up and your arms are sore and your legs are sore and it's just so easy to just stop, right? So I think like to push it a little bit harder, which is so easy for me to just say those words now, but it's so hard for people to actually do in the moment. I think push it a bit harder is the mistake like people make during like hard efforts.
Yeah.
But then also having said that, like you need to do a lot of volume and have a lot of your volume is very easy, like relative to that harder stuff, which is similar to with running where they talk about the 80-20 stuff. I think High Rocks is really quite similar where like you want to put a lot of work in at like an easy sort of pace.
Yeah.
So that's probably another one. I think just with High Rocks as well is like on the movements, like people need to like know exactly how they're going to execute each movement. Like, so if you go and watch, especially sort of like not the top tier athletes, like just everyday people do High Rocks, everyone does all the movements slightly differently.
Right.
And that isn't deliberate. That's because they don't know what they're doing. Like, so to sort of like think, okay, I know how fit I am. So when I'm doing burpee broad jumps, this is the way I'm going to do it. And I'm not just going to try to copy the guy or the girl who's the best in the world who does it like this because I actually can't do it like that. And then after 1 minute, I'm going to break down and it's going to affect my whole race.
Yeah.
So like know what you're going to do and have a plan.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think it's an interesting world. It's booming right now. High Rocks, it's growing. I've had Bo on here. I've had Nat. I've had, people that are known in the space, and it's a very interesting world right now. High Rocks. I'm interested to see what it's like going forwards, but maybe some closing, things, Matt. What I think is something you want the person listening to take away from what they've listened to today? What's a key piece of advice or, statement or whatever it might be that you want somebody to really resonate with?
Yeah. And yeah, it might sound really corny, whatever, but like you can do anything. I think also on the other side of that is like, don't let people tell you can't do something. So like, just like, for example, if someone hasn't done it themselves, this is so like just typical, like, but it's so true. It's like, just if someone else hasn't done it or like, if like they don't believe you can do it, it doesn't actually mean you can't do it. Like in terms of, if you think about like, an actual, like pretend there's a wall in front of you. Someone says you can't push that wall down. Okay, maybe you can't, but did you push it? So I think without sounding too corny, is like I think people need to believe and have a crack and show yourself what you can do. Don't decide, oh, this is my ceiling. No, just go. Let's see what you can do. Show me.
And where can people find you? Where can people find, the Believe Project, the Plunge Run Club? Maybe drop all of that, and that'll be in the show notes for you listening right now.
Yeah. So on Instagram is where we operate mainly. And it's at the Believe Project and then at Plunge Run Club.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That'll be in the show notes, so you can definitely go and visit that if you'd like. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Thank you for chatting with me today. And for you listening, I hope you gained something from today. I think you will, really. There was a lot of goodies in today's episode, but yeah, thanks, Matt.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And thanks everyone for listening. That was awesome.
All right. I want to thank you again for tuning in, for listening. If you are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast, please hit that 5-star review button. Thanks, Matt, for coming on. You can find Matt in the show notes for you listening if you wanted to follow him on Instagram or his projects. If you want to join the Plunge Run Club or the Believe Project, you can find those in the show notes as well. Thank you for spending your time with me today, and I will talk to you in the next episode.